They called her a saint, a woman of God, a light in the darkness. But behind the medals, the fame, and the prayers was something that the world chose not to see. Mother Teresa became one of the most famous women of the 20th century. To millions, she was the symbol of love and mercy, but others say, she let people suffer. She protected the powerful, and she raised millions, without showing where the money went. This isn't just a story about charity, it's a story about power, image, and the price of blind faith. This is the untold truth of Mother Teresa. Agnes Gonsha-Bojakshu was born in 1910 in what is now North Macedonia. At 18 she joined a Catholic missionary order and moved to India. There she took the name Teresa, inspired by Saint Thérèse of Lisieux. Her mission? To serve the poorest of the poor. In 1950 she started the Missionaries of Charity, a small group of nuns working in the slums of Calcutta. Her work seemed holy. She helped the sick. She fed the starving. She gave shelter to the dying. The media loved her. Her wrinkled face, her white sari, her soft voice, it was the perfect image of compassion. Soon, cameras followed her. Interviews praised her. Awards poured in, culminating in the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979. People called her a living saint. But while the world saw a halo, others saw a mask. The image versus the reality. British journalist Christopher Hitchens was one of the first to challenge the fairy tale. He called her a cult figure of suffering, someone who didn't help the poor rise out of poverty, but instead glorified their pain. According to Hitchens and others, Teresa didn't believe in easing suffering. She believed it was holy. In one interview she even said, "There is something beautiful in seeing the poor accept their lot, to suffer it like Christ's passion." That sounds poetic. But in her care homes, it meant people dying in pain. Doctors and volunteers from around the world visited her centers. Many were shocked. There were no painkillers, no proper sanitation, needles reused, equipment unclean, patients lying in agony with little medical attention. A volunteer nurse from England said, "It felt like we were watching people die, not trying to help them live." Was this mercy, or was this something else? Mother Teresa's mission was unlike any other. While most charities focused on alleviating poverty through tangible means, her approach was different. She emphasized spiritual solace over physical assistance. This mission, rooted in faith, attracted countless followers who were inspired by her dedication and humility. Mother Teresa didn't try to solve poverty. She didn't open schools or create job programs. She didn't push for better housing or health policies. Instead, she created a spiritual movement, one based on suffering, sacrifice, and obedience. Her followers weren't allowed to question her. They lived in poverty too, giving up comforts, careers, and even contact with their families. It wasn't about changing the system, it was about accepting it. Some say she believed poverty was part of God's plan, not something to fight. And in doing so, she built a brand, a holy brand, supported by the Catholic Church, by politicians, and by global media. But behind that brand was a growing pile of questions. Follow the money. Her Missionaries of Charity organization spread to over 100 countries. Millions of dollars flowed in from donors, governments, and celebrities. She was one of the most funded religious figures in history. But where did all that money go? There were no clear financial records. Very little went toward improving care facilities. Patients still lay on dirty mattresses. Basic drugs were missing. A British report once found that less than 10% of donations were used for actual charity work. Some former insiders say large amounts were quietly sent to the Vatican Bank. Others claim she accepted money from dictators, fraudsters, and criminals, including Haitian leader Jean-Claude Duvalier and American financier Charles Keating, who was later convicted of fraud. When Keating was exposed, a prosecutor asked Teresa to return his donation, money that likely came from the life savings of poor victims. She never did. Was it loyalty to power, or was it just willful blindness? Mother Teresa spoke out loudly against abortion and contraception. She said, "Mother Teresa, the greatest destroyer of peace is abortion." She promoted these views globally, even in countries facing overpopulation, disease, and poverty. Her influence helped shape strict laws that limited women's choices, sometimes putting lives at risk. At the same time, she accepted awards from world leaders who didn't follow these beliefs, because they gave her money. And there's more. When Teresa herself fell ill, she didn't go to one of her clinics in Calcutta. She flew to the best hospitals in the United States, with top doctors and modern care. The poor were told to suffer for God. She, however, got the best of medicine. The contradiction was hard to ignore. Death, sainthood, and legacy. Mother Teresa died in 1997. Just 2 years later, the Vatican began the process of making her a saint, faster than almost anyone in modern history. By 2016, she was officially canonized. Billions around the world still celebrate her. But the debate hasn't gone away. Some say, look at the millions she inspired to serve. Others ask, what about the millions she let suffer, when better care could have saved them? Should sainthood be based on image, or on honest results? Was she a hero of faith or a symbol of spiritual blindness? Was she a servant of God, or a woman who used suffering as her platform? We all want to believe in saints, in pure, kind people who rise above the rest. It gives us hope. But sometimes those we lift the highest are the ones we should look at the closest. Mother Teresa may have meant well, she may have done some good, but intention is not the same as impact. In the end, it's not enough to ask what someone claimed to do. We have to ask, what did they really do, and who paid the price? This was the other side of Mother Teresa.